And joining us now is Marine Corps veteran and Democratic Congressman Seth Moulton of Massachusetts. He's a member of the Armed Services Committee and is running for U.S. Senate. Good to see you, Congressman. Your colleague and the ranking Democrat on armed services, Congressman Adam Smith, told our David Rohde that Marines will help, but they won't be a game changer. You are in a similar situation in Iraq 23 years ago. What could be coming if the U.S. sends in these Marines?
A lot of dead young Americans. A lot of dead young Americans. That's what could be coming. With no clear strategy, no clear plan. I mean, Trump still has no idea what to do to get out of this problem that he created. And let's be clear, if the Marines actually try to take Kharg Island, and I agree with David that there are not enough troops on hand to do it properly, but if they do try to take Kharg Island, that's not even in the Strait of Hormuz. So even just taking possession of that territory would only be a pressure tactic for the administration to try to use for negotiations with the Iranians, to try to get the Iranians to open the Strait of Hormuz. Because at this point, Trump is losing his war. If he stopped today, he would have to ask the Iranians. We would have to negotiate with them to reopen the strait that they closed because of the war Trump started.
So there's the issue with the oil in the Strait of Hormuz, and you mentioned Kharg Island, where Iran has many of its oil facilities. But there's also the issue of nuclear material that is believed to still be inside Iran. Do you think boots on the ground are inevitable for the U.S. to secure Iran's enriched uranium and the radioactive fallout Trump keeps talking about?
I mean, Anna, none of this is inevitable. None of it has to happen. This is completely a war of choice that Trump concocted on his own. And so, first of all, let's just begin with the fact that he was clearly lying about obliterating, as he said, obliterating the nuclear program after the bombing runs last summer. Clearly a lie. So we don't know what he's lying about today, and we don't know what he's going to do next. We do know that he's gotten himself in a terrible pickle with no way out. And so a lot of people want to find a way to end this war, but putting ground troops into Iran, potentially widening this war into a forever war like we had in Iraq, is not the right way to go.
CENTCOM says it's now destroyed 9,000 targets. But just this past weekend, Iran was still able to use intermediate-range ballistic missiles for the first time to target a joint U.S. base more than 2,000 miles away. They didn't actually hit any targets, but it means that these missiles could theoretically reach Europe. What's your understanding of Iran's capabilities right now?
Iran has a lot of capabilities. And at the end of the day, whether we destroy 90% of their ballistic missiles or 95%, whether we destroy 98% of their nuclear weapons program, the only thing that really matters is, are they going to rebuild it and under what timeline? Because unless we want to go to war every 6 months here, which is the pace that we're on now with Donald Trump, you have to have a negotiated settlement at the end of the day. That's why the long-term plan here has to actually be to sit down with the Iranians at the negotiating table. That's the only way to prevent a forever war, whether it's with air power or troops on the ground. But Trump doesn't seem to understand this. I mean, one of the most amazing facts to come out of the hearings last week was his own National Intelligence Director, Tulsi Gabbard, saying that the intelligence assessment of Iran's threat was not made by the intelligence community. It was made by Donald Trump himself. And I don't know what's worse, having someone so dumb make an intelligence assessment, or Trump being dumb enough to follow his own intelligence assessment. Either way, this whole war is really stupid. He's losing it, and he doesn't have a way out today.
We all know President Trump is unpredictable. If he does follow through on his threats to obliterate Iran's power plants, it could violate international law. What guardrails do our military leaders have?
The Constitution. And it's incumbent on our military leaders to follow only lawful orders. And just to be crystal clear, bombing civilian power infrastructure is a war crime. We decry the Russians for doing this in Ukraine whenever they attack Ukrainian civilian power infrastructure. We always say it's a war crime. And so it's a war crime for the United States to take out civilian power infrastructure in Iran. And therefore, it's important that our military leaders remember that and refuse these orders. This is why the whole dialogue a few months ago about the need for the military to be ready to refuse unlawful orders from the commander-in-chief was spot on, because that's exactly what we see playing out. That's exactly what he threatened on the internet just a few days ago.
Congressman Seth Moulton, thank you for joining us this morning.